Hi, I'm Rjnw, and in 2002, April of 2002, I made a decision to change my life forever, and that was to become sober. And I was bad. I was bad. And people say that weed and alcohol is not a gateway drug. I beg to differ, because I started out drinking, and I did it just to be one of the cool people, to be one of the people that people talk about and stuff. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be that person that everybody wants to hang out with, and I quickly found out that I couldn't do that. I got 3 underage consumption tickets in 6 months and winded up going to treatment, and I stayed sober for like a year and a half, and my world all fell apart. And I think I was just looking for an excuse. I didn't think I hit my bottom yet, and so I swore to myself that I'd never drink again, that I'd just smoke pot. I decided to smoke pot, and that didn't work. That lasted like a month until I ran out of pot and I couldn't get any, and I ended up drinking beer. And I was hanging out with my buddies that were doing meth, coke, smoking crack, and I told them, you guys are stupid. I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to smoke my weed and I'm going to drink my beer and that's it, But what I didn't do is I didn't change my situation. I kept hanging around those people, and being an addict and being the way that I am, if you don't remove yourself from the situation, you're going to eventually do it. And that's just the way it is with everything in life. And I got drunk enough, I got high enough one night, and I did a line. And 7 or 8 years later, I ended up staying up for almost a month at a time. And I ended up making a stupid decision one night to hit myself in the head with a hammer after staying up, after getting into an argument with the girl I'd been seeing, and it ended me up in a mental hospital. And that was April 2002 when I made that choice to change, because where I ended up was where I didn't need to be, and I knew I didn't need to be there. Because that 7 or 8 years that I was using all those drugs, every time I went to sleep at night, every time I tried to go to bed after I was coming down, I knew in the back of my head that I was doing what I wasn't supposed to be doing, that I needed to quit, that I had a problem, because I knew I was an addict, and I knew I should have quit, and I knew I should have stopped, but I didn't. I kept doing it, and it kept getting worse, and I kept pushing things away. And I just want everybody to know that as bad as it can get, I was one of those people that I could have been on one of them intervention shows, but I found my own bottom at that mental hospital, and I decided to quit. And I just want people to know that if you're me, that me that was in that 7 or 8 years, that struggling and beating yourself up every time you try to go to sleep at night, that you can do it. You can quit. And no matter how bad it gets, 5 years after being sober, I was hit head on by a drunk driver, and I ended up losing my leg and stuff, and because of my sobriety and stuff, I stayed strong. And because I know God, my life is so much better. I let him drive my car of life. I let him take the wheel, and it's so much better. Life is so much better with him at the helm than me, because I'm not supposed to be driving the car of life. God's got that all lined up for us, and I don't know, just be safe, guys, and if you need to talk, look me up. I'm on Facebook, I'm public, so anybody can find me, message me, whatever. If you need anything, need a shoulder to cry on, if you need a friend to talk to, you can get through this. I did. Peace.